so sorry I've hardly done an update in maybe nearly a week now. I can't believe how quick that's gone. So I'm gonna have a little chat, so if you want to go get a cup of tea, I might be babbling for a little while because I feel like I've got a lot to catch up with. So I came off trail originally on, gosh, when was it now? I think it was Monday. That was it, yeah. Came off trail on Monday off the PCT and came over Kearsarge Pass and headed down into Independence. From Independence I then went to Bishop, which is about a 40 odd mile detour off, so we managed to get a hitch, got a hotel and stayed there for a couple of days. And on my day out of the PCT I actually left Jen and Owen behind because me and Ice decided to go off ahead because they were struggling a little bit and we were absolutely freezing. It was so cold, so we made the decision that me and Ice would go on ahead and they would then catch up. But unfortunately they never caught up, so me and Ice ended up down in Independence, and I think Jen and Owen stayed on trail for another day, I think. But during that day I also met another group. So I met somebody called Keebler, someone called Beerhang and his wife Stop, and they were absolutely lovely. So me and Ice actually finished off walking a little bit with those on that day, and we also discussed the possibility of heading back out on the PCT together when we then took a couple of 0 days. So we spent a bit of time in Bishop and got resupplies, got lots of good food, got our clothes washed, all that kind of stuff, and I decided to hike out with them on Thursday. So we then went back over to the trail, so we got another hitch back to Independence, got all the way up to the trail by this lovely man who picked us up and dropped us off, bless him. And we did about only a couple of miles, I think it was, on the Thursday to get to the point where we knew we needed to be to then hit Kearsarge Pass early in the morning, because obviously it's so snowy and icy, so you have to do it first thing. So we did Kearsarge Pass then, and that was on the Friday morning, and we then decided to do Glen Pass on Friday afternoon or late Friday morning, and that's where things went a little bit scary. So I felt quite confident after Forester Pass, thinking I was quite capable of dealing with the snow and the ice. I was using my ice axe, I've learned how to kick in steps, I'd been practicing self-arrest, so I felt really confident. You know, I'd done Forester, I'd done Kearsarge, absolutely fine, no problem whatsoever. We got to Glen Pass and going up was a little bit sketchy. It was quite scary going up, but I was fine, I made it. But unfortunately we hit the pass a little bit too late, so we started coming down Kearsarge when the snow started melting, and it wasn't long down the descent where I unfortunately there's no easy way of saying this, I fell off the mountain. So as you're going down in the steps, they were getting a bit slushy and a bit sketchy, and there was this one bit that you had to go round, and it was just, you just couldn't find your footing, and I literally just slipped off the mountain, and I think it was one of the most scariest things I have ever done in my entire life. You've got a 40-pound backpack on with just micro spikes and an axe in your hand, and you're sliding down sheer snow and ice, and it is absolutely terrifying. Luckily I had my ice axe in my hand, and I'd also practiced self-arresting, so I didn't go that far. I was one of the lucky ones that day, because as I started to fall, my instinct kicked in, luckily, with my ice axe, and I got it just straight in the ice, and I slid down, put it in with all my might, and it managed to grip. And I was literally hanging on to the end of my ice axe, kind of just dangling from the mountain at the I think there must have been about a centimetre under my hand. And I was absolutely terrified. I looked up and I saw Beerhang and Keebler just kind of like, I think everybody just froze. They were just looking down at me hanging off this mountain, and I was just frozen. And bless their hearts, they climbed down and saved me. Basically, they were my knights in shining armour. So Beerhang actually climbed down and got me to take my pack off, so he held on to my bag, and then Keebler came from the other side and gave me the axe to hold on to, and we eventually got me off the mountain, and I was okay. It was terrifying. We were all a little bit shaken up. We got all the way down and just stopped. We just had food. I think I was shaking like a leaf. Yeah, it was quite a moment, and we'd actually only been out on trail 24 hours together, so we bonded very quickly as a group. And then after that we were literally post-holing all afternoon, so the sun obviously melts all the snowfields, so you're just kind of walking along post-holing the entire time. I will try and insert a picture somewhere of what the post-holes look like so you can see for yourself. So all in all, those couple of days we hardly did any PCT miles, because just getting back to the PCT on Kearsarge Pass is about 7 or 8 miles in itself, and it was tiring. Everything is very slow going out here. You just can't rush these things. So we then got and did Pincho Pass. That was on Sunday, and that wasn't too bad. It was all right, and we had quite a long day. We then got to a river where there was quite a major river crossing, and unfortunately we just got there as somebody had got sucked under. So again, it's kind of like everything is so dangerous out here, and I think it's even worse this time of year because there's so much snow. So this guy had tried to cross the river at what he thought was a safe point, and he'd gone over a tree that had gone over the water, but the water had just taken him. It literally took him under, got him under the log and dragged down the river, and we are talking a scary river. So we kind of went up and down this river for about half an hour trying to scout out a safe place to cross, and there just wasn't any. We were all quite exhausted, and we also knew that the next day we were coming to another pass which is called Mather Pass, which we had heard was also very, very sketchy, because what's happened is the snow's so bad this time of year that it's snowed all the trail and there's been avalanches, so you can't actually go on the official trail going up Mather Pass. You have to go a different way around the rocks, do all this rock scrambling, which is just not trail. You're going over mountainous rocks that aren't trail. So we called it a day that night near the river and decided that we were going to have a very short day the next day, get to the base of Mather Pass so we could then do that. So that's what we did. We got up, I think we did about 4 miles. It was such a lovely day, but we did about 4 miles. I think we stopped there just after midday actually. It was about after midday. We got down to the bottom of Mather Pass, and then unfortunately you just sit there watching people trying to attempt it, and it was terrifying. So we got up at about 3 AM and then got going by about 4 o'clock and started going up Mather Pass, which probably took us 3.5 hours, and it was nothing. The mileage wise was absolutely nothing, but you're climbing up snowy sections with your ice axe to try and just cling on to these vertical snowy patches, and then you're rock scrambling, and again that is one of the most terrifying things I've ever done. A huge backpack on your back, going round all these rocks literally with your fingernails in the tiniest of cracks trying to balance, and it's exhausting. After about 3 or 4 hours it's absolutely exhausting. And we got to the very top, and normally I'm usually quite excited and cheery, but I was just spent. I could not have got over there if it wasn't for Keebler and Beerhang, because they literally held my hand, literally took my bag off me in certain places. We were holding on to each other. And it completely drained me. It was absolutely exhausting. And then coming down again, you've got the snow and the ice, and it's just been crazy. It has absolutely been crazy in the last 4 or 5 days out here. So much so that Beerhang's running out of food. We're all just completely spent, and we've decided to now go to the Bishop Trail. So it is what day is it today? I don't even know. It's Wednesday today, and we're heading to Bishop Trail today, and I think we'll probably end up in Bishop tomorrow, because we need to get more food, we need to have a little rest, and we need to kind of plan our next strategy. There was even talks of us flipping, or me letting them go on ahead because they're a bit faster than me, or coming back, we're not 100% sure at this stage what's happening, but we're gonna get some town food, we're gonna head to the Bishop Trail. And this is why I've not been vlogging much, because you're constantly against time out here, because you've got to get up so early to hit the snow before it starts melting, because it gets too dangerous, and then you're timing everything around passes. But I mean, it is beautiful out here. Yesterday afternoon, I'm making it sound all bad, and it's not all bad. Yesterday afternoon we were coming down the mountains where all the snow had started clearing, and you start walking through this beautiful scenery and seeing marmots everywhere, and the birds were singing, and there was butterflies, and there was gorgeous rivers everywhere. So it is not all bad. I'm talking a lot about everything that's happened, and I am literally black and blue. My legs are just bruised, my arms, my ribs. I am completely beaten up, and I've only been out here 4 or 5 days, and this is why people skip this section at this time. I understand it now, but there's so much good that's coming out of it as well. I mean, as a group we just get on so well, we have such a laugh together. The scenery is stunning. You don't get this in normal years because of the snowfall. But I'm going to try and keep you a little bit more up to date and tell you how things are going a bit more regularly. But this is why I'm not talking to camera too much, because I'm literally walking and hiking, trying to get through it. We're going at quite a pace, because some days you can hardly make 10 miles out here. It's so difficult. But I'm still going. What are you both doing there, standing in the sun?
Solar charging. Ice cold.
What is so crazy out here at the moment. Everything is starting to melt, and this is just at the beginning. Imagine what this is going to be like in another few weeks' time. It's crazy. Now come off the PCT at mile 8:31 and started on the Bishop Trail, so we're actually heading into Bishop now. We think the trail is about 11 miles, but someone said 13, so we're not 100% sure. But we camped at about 8,000 feet, if not less, last night, and I think the trail actually goes up above maybe 11,500 to 12,000, and we do have another pass to go over. So it's not an easy kind of hike off the PCT. It's going to take us a full day literally to get across. we might actually get to the pass and find out that it's too dangerous to cross and have to camp. So we're going to get as far as we can. We think that the actual highest point is in maybe about 6 miles, and we've done about 1 mile so far on the trail, and it is literally uphill the whole way. But I think we've all made the right decision. We've been out here a week, we're all absolutely shattered. We need to recover a little bit and then hit the trail again probably. But let me show you the views from where I'm stood now. They are absolutely beautiful. Now this is something I haven't seen much of on these trails. An actual bridge going across a water crossing.
It's almost 12,000 feet. It's unbelievable. That's about the same as Mather.
He's crazy. He just looks like a crazy person.
He does. He looks like a crazy idiot. What are they yelling?
I don't know.
Let's go. Let's get down.
Okay.
You have to go.
Ready for soggy bottom?
Yes! Soggy bottom! I like your rudder. You're like, ah!
Oh, okay.
Soggy bottom!